Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to another video. My name is Smurfy and today we are playing Red-Green Dinosaurs. So Red-Green Dinosaurs has quite a few little nice interactions, mainly with Ripjaw Raptor. So Ripjaw Raptor is a 4-mana 4/5, so it's a decent body, but it has Enrage. Whenever it is dealt damage, you draw a card. So if you play a turn 2 Marauding Raptor, which reduces the creature costs, the spells, let's try that again. It reduces the cost of your creature spells by 1, so you can go a turn 2 Raptor into a turn 3 Ripjaw. But Marauding Raptor also says whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Marauding Raptor deals 2 damage to it. So you play your Ripjaw Raptor on turn 3, it takes 2 damage and you draw a card. So you're ahead on board and you've recycled a card. The other nice interaction is with Reckless Rage. Reckless Rage deals 4 damage to a creature your opponent controls and 2 damage to one of yours. So the idea is that the 4 damage you deal to your opponent's creature kills them, and you just find something on your side that you can shock and hopefully not kill. So with Ripjaw Raptor, again, 4 damage to your opponent's creature, 2 to your Ripjaw Raptor, and you draw a card. So really, really good there as well. And then the other one would be Domri. So Domri is, I'm sure you're all familiar with Domri at this point, but it has a fight ability, so you can start making your Ripjaw Raptors fight your opponent's creatures, again drawing you cards. And the last one that I could really see that would come up is Shatterskull Smashing. So you target up to 2 creatures, and you disperse the damage however you want. So say your opponent's got a 3 toughness creature and you can do X for 4, well you might as well do 1 damage to your Ripjaw Raptor and again draw another card. So I think there's a lot of advantages you can take with Ripjaw Raptor. Other than that, you've got Shifting Ceratops, which is just can't be countered, protection from blue, really good against all those control decks, and you can even give it haste as well. And then at the top end, you've got 2 Embercleave and 2 Gulta. Gulta is brutal in this deck because you can give it haste with the Huntmaster. So if you do get the right combination of cards with those two, it gets haste, but also it can get haste with Regisaur Alpha as well. So Regisaur Alpha gives all of the dinosaurs you control haste. So if you do a turn 4 or turn 5 Regisaur Alpha, it's very likely that next turn you'd be able to cast a Gulta, and swinging in with a trample 12/12 haste is very, very hard to beat. Other than that, you do get quite a lot of options with your land base. We are playing 2 Lair of the Hydra. I don't want to play too many because I want to make sure our lands come in untapped, but it could very easily be correct to just play 4 of these because it's so powerful. And we also got a couple of Ranunat Ruins in there as well. The deck is quite heavily slanted towards green on the surface because you've got lots of double green cards. However, most of the deck is red, and a lot of the lower end. So it's not just a case of you just want green, you often want both red and green. And you can play Unclaimed Territory. However, a lot of the cards in the deck don't work off Unclaimed Territory. So Reckless Rage doesn't, your Huntmaster doesn't, nor does Lamor Elves, Shatterskull Smashing, or Domri, or Bonecrusher Giant. So although it seems very obvious to just play 4 Unclaimed Territories in this deck, I don't think it will work, just because there are so many cards that don't function off it. Anyway, that is the deck. Let's get into some games. Yeah, this hand looks fine. We'll keep this. In fact, it's a pretty aggressive hand with the Ceratops. Opponent is playing some questionable 1-drops in their deck here. Torch Courier is not great. I guess it does give another target creature haste, so if you're playing with Bonecrusher Giants, giving them haste is pretty good, but at the cost of a card is not ideal. And they're going to Bonecrusher Giant that's fine. We'll play this as a red, as a mountain or a mountainside, and play a 1/2. So now they can just go land, play Bonecrusher Giant, and give it haste, which is quite nice. Because this isn't really getting in anymore, unfortunately for them. Oh. Are they a Goblins deck? What on earth? Okay, I have no idea what our opponent is doing anymore. I thought I had a rough idea, Turns out, not a clue. Well, there's no point in attacking for 5 because they just chump block. And then potentially hit us with the Bone Crusher Giant on the swing back. So we're just going to pass the turn here. We should have a better late game if we can slow the opponent down, because we have Golter, Ember Cleave, and just big creatures. So there's the Bone Crusher Giant. We're going to give it haste. I think we're fine trading off the Ceratops for the Bone Crusher Giant, because I don't want to take 4 from it, and we've got another one. I'm much more concerned about my life total than the creatures at this point, because if we can keep ourselves at a reasonable life total, like, they're going to be out of cards, or any reasonable cards. We'll play the Ceratops this turn, and we'll keep up the Reckless Rage. Because we can't give it Trample yet, I don't really want to be attacking with it. Next turn we can consider attacking with it, because we can just use a Forest to give this Trample. I have no idea why Reach is an option on this thing. I don't know about you, but that does not look like something that's going to catch anything in the air. They don't even have anything that I want to use Reckless Rage on. Oh, Golter. Well, if we play Domri, next time we can Golter. Or do we just attack with Ceratops and give it Ember Cleave? Yeah, that just seems better. Sure, Golter next time would be really strong. I guess we can Golter now anyway, actually, because this will reduce Golter down by 1. Yeah, that was way better than playing Domri this time. And with Huntmaster, we can even give Golter haste next turn as well, which is absolutely insane. So again, no idea what our opponent is playing. I swear, like, as soon as you get to Plat, you just see the most random decks. I don't know why, but every time I get to Plat, I just play against random decks. I guess all the people playing all the tier 1 decks probably end up in, is it Mythic? I think they call on this game. Yeah. Anyway, I think we'll probably play one more game. So on to the next one. Another opener which looks absolutely fine. I do think that there's probably space for a couple more of the top end of the deck in here, because we get these hands where we have loads of 1, 2, and 3 mana creatures or spells and stuff, and there's just not that much top end. I think there's like 2 or 3 Golters in the deck, which maybe... Oh, there we go. Shifting Ceratops is a good draw. So we'll lead off with Forest into Elf. And especially if we're against a control deck, Ceratops is just like the perfect card against them. It can't be countered, so it's, you know, it's going to resolve unless they have Summary Dismissal, and it's got protection from blue. So, you know, their bounce spells, stuff like that, just don't work on it as well. Oh no, we've been punished again, not for having 2 red sources, because we could have gone Huntmaster into Raptor, assuming that the first spell resolved. That's frustrating. What do we want to cast next turn? The Ceratops. And I really wanted to have haste, so I kind of want to play the Huntmaster for that. Just doesn't seem very efficient with the mana. We might might as well get him for one. They're not going to be playing Snapcaster Mage because it's not in the format, and I can't think of any other 2-drop with Flash that is worth worrying about. We're going to play a land into nothing. Okay, perfect. So this is like exactly what we want the situation for the Ceratops. So we'll play the Raptor first. Because we can still play the Ceratops anyway. We'll also be able to play the Ferostodon if we'd like, but I don't know if that's committing too much to the board at that point. Probably. Yeah, I think playing the other Ferostodon as well is just too much. Because they could very easily have a turn 4 Wrath of God and we'd be pretty much out of the game at that point. It's really tempting to play this, but I don't think it'd be correct to do so. Oh no! It turns out it would have been the correct thing to do because they are a Tybalt's Trickery deck. But there is no way to tell that from this random Arden Veil in the deck. Okay, maybe. I have... See, this is what I mean. I don't know if you've seen any of my other videos, but every time I play against the Tybalt Trickery Magma Opus deck, every single time I play against it, they play cards that I never see other decks play with it. So like one day I'll play against someone with Wrath of God in the deck, and then the next day I'll play against something that has like another bizarre card in there. I can just never tell what that deck actually is. We'll just play the creature with the most power. Obviously, if we draw a land next turn, it would have worked out better to play the Ferostodon. But if we don't draw a land, then the Ferostodon is the better play here. And the deck is like 24 lands. So it's like a 45% chance to draw a land or something like that. Shark Typhoon. Okay, so I don't know if anyone's noticed, but sharks are blue. So the sharks are certainly not something we have to worry about. At least for blocking. We are going to pay the 2 here. We should have just tapped differently. Hopefully it won't come up. Yeah, so now if they make 2 sharks next turn, our Ceratops is lethal. Because they'll take 2 from the Ferostodon, and then obviously that will just kill them. They're going to play Teferi here. So they make a nice big shark. But they can't interact with the Ceratops here. And the Ferostodon has Menace. So the only way I can see them getting out of this is... Oh, okay. Why? Oh, they're not actually Tybalt's Trickery then. They are just a blue-white control list that plays this. Are they Jeskai? We've just got lethal on board anyway, so... Okay, Menace and Protection from blue just meant that they couldn't really interact with them enough, and we managed to pull another win. So this hand isn't ideal. It's fine, but it's certainly not perfect. I think we go ahead and keep it. Just hope our opponent isn't too fast. Oh no, wait, sweet, using it by our opponent. I think we play this on turn 1 here, just because we want it to come in untapped, and we have the choice with the Stomping Ground if we want to pay or not. play with fires, what our opponent's got now. So we know that we don't want to play the Hunt Master, we really want to play the Raptor. Or ideally. The other option is just to shock this with Bone Crusher. Which I think is what we do want to do, really. I guess the other option is just play Raptor, and then next turn we can play Shifting Ceratops. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. If we play Bone Crusher and they counter a Spell Pierce or some way to give this Hexproof or something, that's really bad for us. Whereas it's quite hard for them to kill this. Expressive Iteration, okay. So they've got like a very slow hand, other than the Delver, which is flipped, but other than that, quite a slow hand for this deck. Oh, we got Galta, that's a sweet draw. So we'll go ahead, play a Forest, play the Ceratops here. So that'll take 2 damage here, unfortunately, so they could combo play with fire. They're going to choose to opt instead. I think they just completely miss that this goes down to 2 toughness. There's no way you don't do that, right? In fact, I think if, in hindsight, thinking about it, it's probably safer to not play that and risk it getting shocked. I guess then we're not really doing anything other than we could Bone Crusher Giant, perhaps. Oh, they're going to Unholy Heat it. Okay, nice. And Dreadhorde Arcanist. Oh, God. It's really frustrating that we can't play these. I think what we're going to do is play this tapped and get rid of this Insectile Aberration and just pass the turn. So what they're going to do is attack with the Dreadhorde Arcanist, probably Unholy Heat now, which is going to remove this, but then that means we can play both of our Hunt Masters and try and go from there. Or we could just play another Bone Crusher. There's also a 3-drop Dinosaur, which is a 3/2, but whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, you can exile a card from your opponent's graveyard. If it's a creature, it gets +1/+1, and if it's a non-creature or something, I think it gains you gain 2 life or something. But that gives you the option to try and interact with your opponent's graveyard a little bit. I did consider playing that, but I couldn't see any lists playing it, so I just assumed that they had a reason for not playing it. Yeah, we're going to play Bone Crusher, play the Hunt Master. I'm trying to think if there's any way that we can kill our opponent next turn with Galta. Well, if we draw a land, we could then cast Galta, assuming they don't kill anything, which is very unlikely. I apologize if there's any creaking in the background. This house is very, very creaky. Okay, we do draw the mountain, but that's not going to be enough to cast Galta this turn. We do have enough just to cast Embercleave, though. Probably just want to do that, right? Play Embercleave, attack for 10. See what happens. quite unlikely for them to kill us next turn anyway. They could counter Embercleave, to be fair. Let's see if they've got anything. Spell Pierce. Yeah, that works. And we just passed the turn. That was very unfortunate. Have they got anything that's really bad for us? 1 mana? Not really. Play with Fire. So they can attack us for 6 this turn if they use Play with Fire. So an Embercleave off the top is probably lethal. Well, it would be lethal, assuming they don't have Oh, okay. So now Embercleave isn't lethal off the top. They have to be careful of what they bring back here. Oh no, they've got loads of instances now. I really like our opponent's deck. The blue-red decks are really, really nice to play. And I love Dreadhorde Arcanist. It's crazy that this card is banned in Legacy. Reckless Rage is pretty good. We could boot this up into a creature, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4. So that doesn't seem great. I guess we might as well play the Huntmaster. So what do we want to do here? We need to stay alive, but we also need to kill our opponent realistically probably next turn. So we can Reckless Rage, kill one of the 3, block. So Reckless Rage this, block here, take 3 down to 3. That means we could only boot the Hydra up to be a 2/2. I guess we can boot it up to be a 2/2 now, and Reckless Rage this turn as well. No, we can't. We can't really do anything because if we use Reckless Rage on our Bonecrusher Giant, we take 2 from it because of its ability is symmetrical. So now they're going to flash back. I would expect Play with Fire. Wait, what? Okay, that didn't go how I was expecting. If that's the case, we can Reckless Rage and let this Huntmaster die. Oh no, we don't really want to do that because we want gold to resolve for next turn. Oh, how do we do this? That's going to resolve, obviously. I guess we could do it before this, in case they draw a counter spell for our Reckless Rage. So what we want to do is somehow stay alive whilst casting Reckless Rage, killing one of their creatures, but also keeping everything on the board alive for Golta next turn to get haste. But also we need the extra land, so we can Reckless Rage this, take 2. We can Reckless Rage this and kill it, so we can't have Gold or Haste next turn. Or we can activate this to be a creature land, but then we would only be able to make it into a 2/2 or a 1/1, killing it and then not having enough for Golta.
and I think that is going to be the best way of doing it, and hope they don't have a shock. Oh shit, no, because now the giant dies. No, completely fucked that up. That went entirely tits up. So what we should have done is blocked with the master if we were going to shock the Bone Crusher giant. That's annoying. I think we actually would have had lethal this turn if we played that correctly, but there was too many things to consider, and I really don't like the way that the... Oh, okay, you know what, doesn't even matter. So the only way to play around that would have been to activate our creature land, which would have cost 1 to activate, so, and then 1 for the Reckless Rage, which means we could have only paid 1, I guess 2 into the Hydra to make it a 2/2, and it being a 2/2 meant that it would die from the Reckless Rage. Therefore, when we untap, we would have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana, and we would have needed 6 for this. So the only way we would have been able to even play the Golter is to either draw an untapped land or draw a creature that has more power than it does cost to cast. And I didn't want to lose the chance to play Golter next turn, but completely fucked it up regardless. But yeah, on to the next one. So after playing the deck for quite a few games, we ended up going 5 games, 3-2 in total. So 3 wins, 2 losses. So the deck did fine. We played against some really, really bizarre decks. So I'd like to revisit this deck and play some more games and hopefully play some more meta decks against it, just so we can see how it plays against those. But it worked out quite nicely. It's a surprisingly hard deck to play because you have so many little interactions with things. So like the Raptor dealing damage to certain creatures. So it works out sometimes better to play the Huntmaster first, or your Reckless Rage dealing with Raptors as well. So if you play a creature and want a Reckless Rage on your creature, well, you're not dealing 2 damage, you're actually dealing 4 in total. So it can work out quite hard to make sure things line up, especially when you've got the Alpha and the Ceratops, which both have 4 toughness. So they can very easily die to your own spells if you don't sequence them correctly. But the deck seems absolutely sweet. I can definitely see playing maybe an extra Ripjaw Raptor and then maybe an extra Regisaur if you wanted to. The Domri in the deck didn't really do anything, but we didn't really get to draw it either. I think that is mainly in there just to keep your creatures from being countered. The fight on it is pretty good as well, but there are plenty of ways you can make creatures fight. But I think Domri's fine in this list. Other than that, you could probably get away with playing more creature lands, so more Lair of the Hydra. I think that you don't want to be making it so all your land is entering tapped though. That was my main fear. But you do get access to quite a few options. So you've got Lair of the Hydra, there's a red version as well. You also got Ranyanap Ruins. So you've got quite a lot, and Shatterskull Smashing. So you've definitely got a lot of room for tweaking your mana base in red-green. And I really enjoyed the deck, so I hope you did too. If there's anything you want to see me play in the future, please just leave a comment in the comment section. I read every comment I get, like literally every single one. So if you have any suggestions, please do so. Also, if you want to see more videos, I am trying to upload every single day at the moment. I think I'm about 7 or 8 videos in a row now. So daily uploads is something that you can expect at the moment anyway. Thanks for watching, and peace.